Is the new Superman movie carrying a hidden pro-Palestinian message? That seems to be the conclusion many viewers have reached just days after the hotly anticipated James Gunn film was released. The reboot of the beloved franchise sees the Man of Steel intervening to protect the fictional downtrodden nation of Jarhanpur from invasion by its neighbor Boravia and its high-tech military, backed by the United States. Sound familiar? Some people certainly think so. To tell us more, we're joined now by MEE reporter Tamara Himani. Tamara, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Now, have you seen this film?
I have not, although it's top of my list for this weekend.
Yeah, me too. But that hasn't stopped the reactions. I've seen so many reactions. I've already seen a lot of spoilers. I think I have a good sense of what happens at the start and the end of the film.
I think you could construct the plot of the film purely from the tweets about it.
Yeah.
So that's been helpful.
I mean, how are people reacting?
So there's been a lot of online reactions, most of them actually kind of identifying this as kind of a implicit pro-Palestine message. They kind of have identified Boravia, this, high-tech, wealthy, close ally of the U.S., as kind of a stand-in for Israel. And then they've seen Jarhanpur, this poor, downtrodden nation that's, fenced in and whose people are basically defenseless against Boravia's invasion. They've seen that as a kind of stand-in for Palestine, and they see kind of like that relationship and, Superman who wants to intervene on their defense as kind of a kind of, the collective moral conscience of people who should be intervening against a U.S. invasion of, a U.S. support for an Israeli invasion of Gaza.
Now we're seeing here some of the pretty celebratory tweets of people heralding this film as a political message, one that is in line with a big part of online sentiments. But does everybody share this theory about what this Superman film intends to say?
So, there's obviously been a bit of backlash from more pro-Israel commentators who say that, this is pro-Palestinian voices and, the left kind of reading into this an allegory that doesn't exist and kind of this actually has nothing to do with Israel, which was pretty interesting. But then, you also had actually the Israeli embassy in LA kind of reacting to this by saying, the real superheroes are, Israeli soldiers and kind of you can only see that in real life. So there is it's kind of like a Schrodinger's allegory of like, this isn't about us, but even if it is, it's completely wrong. And I think, no one encapsulated that better than Ben Shapiro. And he kind of said in his kind of review of the film that, this would be completely inaccurate to say it was about Israel and Palestine. Anyone who thought so would just had a poisoned left-wing brain, which is unfortunate place to be in.
I mean, it's an interesting question, right? Like, are we so Twitter-brained that we will project any